My favorite thing about flying on an airplane is the time to destination feature. I love that little map that shows you exactly how long you have until you arrive at your destination. Every time I look at one of those, I think, how amazing would this be to have in real life? Today, I want to talk about how healing from chronic pain can feel a lot like being on an airplane. I've got my flight suit on today, so let's take off. This video is for Ada, who requested this topic in a comment, and if there's a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Healing from chronic pain can feel a lot like being on an airplane. Think about the whole stressful process of air travel. Getting to the airport, checking in, going through security, finding your gate, boarding the plane, and squeezing your suitcase into that overhead bin. Even if you've done it hundreds of times before, it's often confusing and unsettling. This stage is similar to when you're trying to understand the reason for your chronic pain. Many of us spend months, sometimes even years, occasionally even decades, doing the detective work to try to figure out what is causing our pain. In this stage, it can often feel like total chaos, just trying to make sense of why you're in pain. I remember this feeling really well while I dealt with 6 years of chronic pain. I spent so much time trying to figure out what was the cause behind it. I was confused, frustrated. I couldn't wait for it to be over, just like how I feel when I'm trying to get on a plane. Eventually, I discovered that my pain was neuroplastic pain. And that moment when you discover that your pain is neuroplastic, or you even learn about the idea of neuroplastic pain in the first place, is a lot like when you finally settle into your seat and you're ready for takeoff. Just like on a plane, that doesn't mean that you always take off right away. A lot of people need to learn about neuroplastic pain and do some research to discover whether or not their pain is neuroplastic before they're ready to begin their journey. If that's you, I highly recommend checking out other YouTubers who talk about chronic pain. My personal favorite is Dan from Pain Free You, and I'll link to one of his videos down below if you want to check him out. But you can also search pain reprocessing therapy or TMS, or you can read some of the books about neuroplastic pain that I've mentioned in other videos to get some sense of what it might mean for your pain to be neuroplastic. You might even be tempted to think, I've done my part, then why aren't we there yet? You're eager to get to your destination, which is living a pain-free life. But just like getting on a plane, healing from chronic pain is not an immediate escape. When the plane finally starts moving, you feel the acceleration, and then there's the thrill as the plane lifts off and takes to the air. You're climbing, you're moving, everything feels dynamic. This is just like the initial excitement that many people experience when they try things like somatic tracking or journaling for chronic pain relief and other types of pain reprocessing therapy techniques to regulate their nervous system and turn down the volume on their fear, which is at the root of their neuroplastic pain. You might notice your symptoms start to reduce. Sometimes they even disappear for a little while. Or even if they just move around to a new location, that can be a relief to many people because it is a hallmark sign of neuroplastic pain. That initial feeling of something changing, of something feeling better, is exhilarating. But of course, eventually you hit cruising altitude. The plane is still moving, but you just don't feel it anymore. You might not even realize how fast you're actually moving. This happens for a lot of people when they make progress on their chronic pain and their pain symptoms reduce by some percentage, or perhaps they occasionally have pain-free days. And sometimes we hit a patch of turbulence. This is just like when we go through a pain flare, or we have a stressful period of time and we're not able to do the things to take care of ourselves, and our pain symptoms come back with a vengeance. The journey gets a little bit bumpy, and even seasoned travelers can feel some anxiety when going through patches of turbulence. When I was growing up, my mom's good friend worked as a flight attendant, and she always told us that during times of turbulence to look at the flight attendants. If they're acting calm, relaxed, chatting amongst each other, you have nothing to worry about. And every time I've been on a flight and there's been some turbulence, I look to the attendants and they look like it is just another Tuesday. You can do the same thing when you're healing from chronic pain and you hit a setback. Look to the flight attendants of the mind-body pain reprocessing therapy community. Watch videos, read books, listen to podcasts with success stories of people who have overcome their chronic symptoms, and reach out. None of them will ever tell you that it was a smooth and easy journey. They'll talk about their own setbacks, pain flares, and challenges. And hopefully they can show you that it's possible to keep moving forward, even when turbulence hits. I hope I can be one of those people for you. And if you want to talk more about your journey to heal your chronic pain, leave me a comment below and we can talk about it. Another way that healing from chronic pain is like flying in an airplane is that it's so easy to lose track of your progress. But now with those little flight trackers, you know that you're flying over Nova Scotia. If we didn't have those, it would make sense to feel kind of stuck and disconnected from the process. It's the same thing with healing. Unfortunately, we don't have flight trackers for our chronic pain. A viewer recently asked me, how do you deal with feeling 60 to 70% healed? And you're frustrated because you want to get to 100% free from chronic pain. This might be a bitter pill to swallow, but I don't believe it's a good goal to try to be 100% healed from chronic pain. Yes, I think it's possible to live a relatively pain-free existence, but pain flares occur just like turbulence on a flight. Nothing has gone wrong. In my opinion, when that turbulence hits, the best thing you can do is not to focus on how much you wish you had already arrived at your destination, but to look back and to see how far you've come and how much you've changed in your relationship to yourself. If there's one thing that I've learned from the process of healing from chronic pain, is that being kind to myself is the first and most important step. You are moving forward and you are making progress, even on those days when it doesn't feel like it. The other reason why it's not a great idea to focus on trying to get to our destination any faster is that this can actually turn up the fear signals in our brain and create hypervigilance around our pain symptoms. When we're really eager to arrive at our destination, any minor occurrence of pain is going to set off alarm bells, which all of you in the mind-body world know is the number one thing that's going to keep your pain firing in your brain. It's also just really unpleasant to be resisting the experience that you're currently in. This is why I'm such a big fan of somatic tracking, is that even in those times when I notice myself feeling a lot of anxiety and resistance to the emotions or sensations that I might be feeling if I am having a pain flare, the somatic tracking practice can help you to go into your body and to calm your nervous system to be able to not be resisting the sensations, but notice them with a sense of openness and curiosity, which is one of the best ways to remind yourself that you are safe, which is the goal, because the goal is creating safety in your brain and your body, which means that naturally your pain will dissipate. So what can you do when you hit turbulence in your healing journey? Picture yourself on that airplane. Return to your seat, check in with your body, do what you can do to feel grounded and safe. If you're feeling fear, process it, don't repress it. I have a guided meditation that you can check out up here that'll walk you through how to actually process an emotion in a literal and physical way by allowing the sensations in your body to move through their cycle. And you could be pretty amazed by how different you can feel after doing this short meditation. When I feel frustrated and scared that I've not yet arrived at my destination, I like to write about my feelings. So if you want to check out my guide to processing emotions through expressive journaling, the link is in the description below. Things I like to do to signal safety to my body are wear warm clothes and make sure I'm not cold, which is one of my triggers. That might even include taking a hot bath or turning on the heater in my home. Sadly, I've discovered that creating more safety in my body includes cutting down on my caffeine intake and going for walks where I don't listen to any podcasts or audiobooks, and instead I have a conversation with my body and my pain. You can wear AirPods if you don't want to look like you're talking to yourself. The last thing to consider is to appreciate the journey that you're on. Just like at the end of the flight when you arrive at your destination, it's easy to forget how amazing it is that you even made the journey in the first place. Healing is no different. Each time you arrive to a new level of creating safety in your body, take some time to look around and marvel at how far you've come. Recognize the beautiful new destination that is your life. Bon voyage!